So what exactly is ChatGPT? Let's strip away all the buzzwords and tech lingo and keep it simple. ChatGPT is an AI chatbot created by a company called OpenAI. You type in a question or request, and it replies instantly with a human-like response. That's the core idea. Imagine having a super smart assistant who's read millions of books, articles, websites, and conversations, and who can now answer questions, solve problems, explain complex ideas, and even write for you in seconds. That's ChatGPT. You don't need to install anything. You don't need a fancy computer. You just go to a website, type what you want, and it starts working for you. Let me give you a quick analogy. Think of ChatGPT like Google. But instead of giving you a list of websites to browse, it gives you a clean, direct answer, tailored to your question. Or think of it like a blank document that writes itself, based on your instructions. You might be wondering, is this like Siri or Alexa? Well, yes and no. Like Siri, ChatGPT responds to natural language, but it's way smarter. It doesn't just give predefined answers. It generates new, thoughtful, flexible responses each time you ask something. And the more detailed and clear your question, the better the response. Here's another way to think about it. ChatGPT is like having a personal intern, assistant, and idea machine, all rolled into one. But how does it work? It's based on something called a large language model. That just means it has read and learned from a massive amount of text data, billions of words. So when you type something in, it uses patterns in that data to predict what a good answer would look like. Now, is it perfect? No. It sometimes makes mistakes or hallucinates, meaning it gives an answer that sounds great but may not be 100% accurate. That's why it's best used as an assistant, not a replacement for your thinking. It can't browse live websites in the free version. It doesn't know personal details about you. And it doesn't have common sense. It only understands and predicts language patterns. That said, it's incredibly useful. Let me give you some examples of what you can ask it to do. Write a professional email to my client apologizing for a delay. Give me 10 name ideas for a candle brand. Summarize this long article into 3 bullet points. Plan a week of healthy meals for 2 adults. Create a motivational quote for my Instagram post. Translate this text into Spanish. Correct the grammar in this paragraph. Act like a productivity coach and help me plan my Monday. You get the idea. ChatGPT is like a Swiss Army knife for your words, tasks, and ideas. And in this course, you're going to learn how to use that knife effectively, safely, and creatively. And yes, it's free to use. You can start right now by visiting chat.openai.com. You just sign up, log in, and start typing. There's also a paid version called ChatGPT Plus, which is faster, more accurate, and has access to the latest tools and real-time browsing. But don't worry, everything we'll cover in this course can be done with the free version. So now that you know what ChatGPT is, let's go deeper. Next, we'll explore how to actually use it, how to write prompts that work, and how to turn this tool into something that genuinely helps you in real life.
Now that you know what ChatGPT is, let's talk about what it can actually do for you in your work, your personal life, your business, or even your studies. Because this is where the magic happens, not in theory, but in practical results. You might be surprised by how versatile ChatGPT really is. Most people think it's just for answering questions. But in reality, it can help with dozens of tasks you're already doing. And it can often do them faster, easier, and in some cases better. Let's start with a simple example, writing. ChatGPT can help you write emails, create reports, draft social media captions, generate product descriptions, respond to customer inquiries, rewrite text to sound more professional, friendly, or clear. No more staring at a blank screen wondering how to start a message. You just give it the context, the tone you want, and let it do the heavy lifting. Next, it's incredibly useful for summarizing information. Let's say you receive a long email or document. Instead of reading the whole thing, you paste it into ChatGPT and say, summarize this in 5 bullet points. And just like that, you get the key ideas without wasting time. You can also use it for brainstorming and planning. Need ideas for your business name? Struggling with what to post on social media? Trying to figure out what to cook this week? Planning a birthday or holiday trip? Just describe what you're looking for, and it'll give you options. You can say things like, give me 5 content ideas for a fitness coach. Suggest names for a minimalist jewelry brand. Help me plan a weekend getaway with a $300 budget. Create a weekly schedule for someone working from home. Now let's talk about learning and problem solving. ChatGPT is a great study partner, tutor, and explainer. You can ask, explain inflation in simple terms. What's the difference between a credit score and a credit report? How do I fix a run-on sentence? Can you quiz me on world capitals? Act like a history teacher and help me prepare for my exam. It's like Google, but with context and conversation. You don't just get information, you get it explained, simplified, and even structured for you. Now here's something powerful. ChatGPT adapts to how you work. If you want bullet points, it gives bullet points. If you prefer formal emails, it writes them. If you need ideas fast, it gives you 10 in a snap. And if the answer isn't perfect, you can just say, try again, or make it more casual or shorter, please. And it responds immediately. That flexibility makes it one of the most powerful productivity tools available today, for free. Let's quickly recap some of the things ChatGPT can do. Draft messages, blogs, and documents. Summarize articles or conversations. Translate and rephrase text. Brainstorm names, titles, product ideas. Plan projects, events, content calendars. Explain complex topics in clear terms. Help with study, revision, and training. Format, simplify, improve, and optimize your communication. Whether you're working solo, managing a business, studying for exams, or just organizing your life, ChatGPT can give you a major head start. And you don't need to be a writer. You don't need to know exactly what to say. That's the beauty of it. The more you practice, the better the results. So the next question is, how do you actually use it well? That's what we'll cover in the next few slides. How to give great prompts, how to refine responses, and how to start using ChatGPT like it's your personal assistant. Ready? Let's keep going.
Now that we've seen what ChatGPT can do, let's take a moment to talk about what it can't, or at least, what it's not built to do yet. This part is important, because the more realistic your expectations are, the more effectively you'll use this tool. ChatGPT is incredible, but it's not magic. It's not a mind reader, and it's not a human. Let's start with one of the most common misunderstandings. ChatGPT doesn't think like a human. It doesn't know you, your goals, or your emotions. It doesn't have real-time awareness. And it doesn't remember your past conversations unless you're using a version with memory enabled. And even then, it's limited. So if you're expecting it to act like a full-time employee who understands your work style, values, or unique tone of voice, it won't. At least not right away. It also doesn't access the internet in real time, unless you're using the Pro version with tools enabled. The free version of ChatGPT is based on a large dataset that was trained up until a certain point in time. That means if you ask it for today's weather, a current news story, or flight availability, it won't be able to help. It also can't verify facts. Yes, you read that right. ChatGPT is trained on patterns and data, but it doesn't fact-check like Google. That means it might give you a very convincing answer that's completely incorrect or outdated. This is especially important if you're working in fields like medicine, law, finance, education, research. You should always verify anything critical. Think of ChatGPT as an assistant who's really fast and creative, but not always accurate. Now, let's talk about opinions and emotions. ChatGPT can generate responses that sound empathetic, kind, supportive, but it's still just patterns in text. It's not a replacement for a therapist, mentor, or human connection. It can help you structure a difficult message or even offer comforting words. But remember, it doesn't feel anything. It just mimics tone. Here's another limitation. Creativity still needs direction. Yes, ChatGPT can brainstorm. Yes, it can write content, scripts, outlines, poems, but it still depends on your input. The more vague your request, the weaker the result. For example, if you say, "Write something for my website," you'll probably get a generic paragraph. But if you say, "Act like a copywriter," "Write a homepage headline for my eco-friendly skincare brand," in a bold and inspiring tone. Boom, now we're talking. So ChatGPT isn't limited in capability. It's limited by clarity. The clearer and more specific you are, the better your results will be. Now let's quickly summarize what ChatGPT can't do well, yet access or search the live internet on the free plan. Provide current news or updates. No personal context unless provided in the prompt. Guarantee 100% accuracy. Replace human intuition, creativity, or decision-making. Remember long-term info, unless using memory features in Pro. Does this mean you shouldn't use it? Of course not. It just means you need to use it wisely. Let it handle the routine stuff. Let's save you time on drafts, ideas, research, and rewriting. Then add your own human judgment to polish or verify where needed. AI is powerful, but you are still the driver. And with the right prompts and expectations, you'll be able to unlock real value without falling into common traps. Next, I'll walk you through the difference between the free and paid versions, so you know exactly what's available to you from the start.
All right, now that we know what ChatGPT can and can't do, let's clear up a very common question. Should you use the free version or upgrade to the paid one? The good news is, you don't need to pay anything to get real value out of ChatGPT. The free version is incredibly powerful and more than enough to complete 90% of what we'll do in this course. But there's also a paid version called ChatGPT Plus, and depending on your goals, it might be worth considering. So let's break down the key differences between the free versus paid versions and which one is right for you. What you get with the free version. The free plan gives you access to a version of ChatGPT powered by what's called GPT 3.5. Here's what it offers. You can use it from any browser, desktop or mobile. It answers text-based questions instantly. It remembers basic context during a session. You can use it to write emails, blog posts, summaries, captions, and more. It's available 24/7. No downloads needed. This version alone can save you hours every week and help you write, think, and create faster. So yes, if you're just getting started, the free version is 100% enough to get massive value. What you get with ChatGPT Plus paid version. For $20 per month, as of April 2025, ChatGPT Plus gives you access to GPT-4 Turbo, which is faster, smarter, and more powerful than GPT 3.5. Here's what you get with the paid plan. Access to GPT-4, which gives more accurate, more detailed answers, faster response times, especially during peak hours, access to plugins like web browsing and file analysis, built-in tools like code interpreter, image understanding, and more. We will early access to new features and memory capabilities. One of the biggest advantages is that GPT-4 can handle more complex instructions, respond more creatively, and even remember your preferences, with memory enabled. If you're using ChatGPT for business, daily content, product creation, or you just want the absolute best version, GPT-4 is worth it. Which one should you choose? Here's my honest advice. Start with the free version. Learn the basics. Try the prompts in this course. Get results. Then, once you're confident in using ChatGPT regularly, or if you feel it's becoming a core part of your workflow, consider upgrading to Plus. If you're running a small business, creating digital products, or working in a field that requires speed and precision, that $20 per month can be a huge return on investment. But again, it's not required to benefit from ChatGPT. Most of the examples in this course were created using the free version. How to switch between models. If you do upgrade, you'll see a toggle at the top of the screen where you can switch between GPT 3.5 and GPT-4. That way, you can compare responses and choose the one that works best for the task. Keep in mind, GPT-4 responses can be a bit slower, but they're often more detailed and structured. Let's recap the key differences. Free version, GPT 3.5 great for writing, summarizing, brainstorming, works on browser or phone, unlimited access, no cost. Perfect for learning and everyday use. Paid version GPT-4 smarter, more accurate responses, faster during peak times, tools like image input, code, browsing, with pro features, can remember preferences and context. So no matter which version you use, ChatGPT is already a powerful tool. What matters most isn't whether you're on the free or paid plan. It's how you use it. And that's exactly what we're about to dive into. Next, I'll show you how to write prompts, the simple way, so you can start using ChatGPT more effectively, starting today.